Hi, this is Donny Lowy from Closeoutexplosion.com, a wholesale business in New York. Today I'd like to discuss with you the topic of buying wholesale clothing from the USA. As a wholesaler in New York, I have many customers from overseas. I have customers from Africa, the Middle East, South America, the Caribbean, from Europe, and they love buying American wholesale clothing. The primary reason is they're after the American brand names. Those brand names are very popular overseas. And depending on the market, of course, there are going to be different brands that are in demand. But I've seen a lot of demand overall for brands like Tahari, Polo Ralph Lauren, Tommy Hilfiger, Nike, Jones New York, Steve Madden, Nine West, Kenneth Cole, and of course the demand and the popularity fluctuates. Another reason why there's so much demand in the for clothing from the United States overseas is because there's an understanding that the quality of clothing is very high. Chinese manufacturers make clothing at a higher quality level for the United States market than they do for other markets. In addition, the United States is such a large market that so much clothing is being imported into the United States, and there's so much clothing being churned over and sold so frequently that you'll always have a lot of excess and overstock merchandise. You have a lot of closeouts that are being sold into the market. You have clothing that is slightly irregular, and while someone in the United States, for instance, a buyer at a department store might not want to have that clothing in his department store, but the clothing is still beautiful. The irregularity is so insignificant that the clothing could be perfect for another retailer, whether it's a retailer in the United States or outside of the United States. But the quality demands of some of the retail chains are so high in the United States that there's so much closeouts being created, because when that clothing doesn't meet their high quality approvals, the clothing has to be sold into the off-price market. And then you have department stores who are continuously churning over their merchandise, and as soon as the merchandise is a few weeks old, a few months old, or it's from a previous season, they sell it into the job ad market. So there is definitely a lot of demand. Now, as far as knowing how to buy the clothing, the one thing you can do, if it's practical for you, I definitely recommend it, is travel to the United States and visit the wholesale showrooms. There are wholesale showrooms in New York, in the New York Fashion District, or otherwise known as New York Garment District. In LA, you have the Wholesale Mart. You have also a lot of wholesalers there. You can go to Florida, especially Miami. Downtown Miami, you're going to find wholesalers. So there are many showrooms you can visit in person. There are directories online that are free. There are paid directories that will give you even more sources. New York City has the New York City Fashion Directory, where you can look up all the wholesale showrooms and the designers and the wholesale importers and different elements that are involved in the wholesale business in New York. So there's definitely many ways to find leads, but the best ways to actually, do some footwork, show up to the wholesale district, start walking around, introduce yourself to wholesalers. You can also come to my warehouse in New York. My website is closeoutexplosion.com. There are many wholesalers, such as myself, outside of Manhattan. You have wholesalers in Brooklyn, in Queens, in New Jersey. You have wholesalers all over the United States. You can also go online, and if you feel comfortable, you can place an order online, speak to the owner of the business, exchange a few emails, and before you import any clothing from the wholesaler, I personally would want to verify that they do have customers from your country. This way you could be assured that they are familiar with the type of clothing that you're going to need in your country. As far as doing the actual shipping, there are freight forwarders that either will ship to you on a freight collect basis or on a prepaid freight basis. There are companies such as Schenker, Corporate Messengers, Express Air Freight, Grand Bell, Aparkin, Impex, Tropical Shipping. So there are many different shipping companies. And then it's one thing I also recommend. I was going to say, as far as the payment, you can always pay people by wire transfer, Western Union, MoneyGram. Many businesses accept credit cards, debit cards. You can go to someone's warehouse, such as my warehouse, and pay for the stuff in person. What I was going to recommend is that if you have any family or friends in the city where the wholesaler is located, or if you have any family or friends that can travel to the wholesaler, I would recommend that they visit on your behalf, check them out. I always invite customers to come to the warehouse or to send someone on their behalf. This way they can see the kind of merchandise that I have available. Having said all of this, you should know that there's a really good opportunity for you in buying wholesale clothing from the United States. And of course, it is going to depend on your market, and it's going to depend on how much you pay for the clothing, how much you pay for the shipping, how much you can sell the clothing. But in general terms, I have many customers from overseas. I have a good amount of repeat customers. So according to my understanding, they must be doing well if they're buying from me more than once, right? Because that means they have a demand and they're able to sell the clothing that they buy from me. All right, so I definitely invite you to come to my warehouse the next time you are in New York. My website is closeoutexplosion.com. Have a great